DJ Smallwood, Slingin Dirt Media out here in Batavia, Ohio. We got another legend on camera. We don't like to talk to our legend guys too. Lucas, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Just getting ready to get back into it again.
Yeah. So we mentioned, this week is Dream Week. So people watching, the dream is coming up. And speaking of dreams, we got a young man chasing his dream. So, man, how long you been racing?
About since I was 8 years old. Started in go-karts over at Full Throttle Indoor, and met up with Cliff Bird, and he got us into the dirt kart scene, and that kind of sparked our friendship with Cliff and Nicholas. And at the end of my third year in dirt karts, kept getting spun by a cart repetitively one night, and I got really mad about it and said we wouldn't come back. And then Cliff goes, "Hey, you want to buy a legend car?"
So you get spun out a few times, more than a few times, by the same guy?
Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah, it kept coming up from the tail, and every time I'd get to him, he'd spin me.
It wasn't Jacob Beck, was it? No, just kidding with the old Jacob. Jacob's a good kid there. I like messing with Jacob a little bit. So.
Yeah,
I seen you did some racing with him too.
Yeah.
Okay. So where did you guys do the dirt karts at? Was that in Lawrenceburg?
We did them at Lawrenceburg. Trying to remember, North Vernon, the kart track out there. It's a pretty fun track. Yeah, that's usually where we raced at for most of the years. Once we got going, because 68 closed, which I think still kind of there. It's just kind of overgrown a little bit, but
they don't run it no more.
Yeah.
It's been closed.
Yeah, it's a horse pasture now.
Okay. Yeah, I grew up out that area, so I remember going by it a few times, but I never got to go there or see anything happening there. It wasn't opened up when I lived out there, But actually, when I grew up, my mom and dad's place is 2.5 miles from Moeller's driveway. So from driveway to driveway, it's 2.5 miles, but the track was never there until I grew up and moved away. So 68 closed down. You decide to get out and leave the karts, and Cliff decides, hey, you guys want to buy a legend car?
Yeah.
So tell me how that transition happened.
So we were really frustrated. And I was taking a shower. My dad goes, "Do you not want to go to North Vernon tonight?" I'm like, "No, not really. I'm just kind of frustrated with last week." And then Cliff, the next day, calls us up and asks us if we want to buy a legend car, because it was sitting at his shop, getting ready to go down to North Carolina to get clipped.
Okay. Who, I know Cliff has had a few cars and stuff. I'd seen he had one for sale. It might have been the one that I'd seen he was trying to sell. So that's the one you guys picked up.
Yeah, so it was Adam Hudson's old car.
Okay.
We bought it from then because it got wrecked at Brush Creek, I think. I think there's a picture of it just before it hits the infield tractor tire, because they always joke about it.
Okay. I got to find that picture.
Yeah.
I need that picture.
But yeah, it just folded the frame horns back a bit, and they went to send it down to get clipped, and Cliff called us, and we bought it off him then and raced it like that for the rest of that season, and clipped it. And so far, the end of the car's career, I think we've clipped it basically at the end of every year. So
is that a pretty simple process for these cars?
Yeah, you just cut it off basically right here at the firewall.
Okay.
And then the RPM clips, I think, are a bit longer, and the INX clips are shorter. So that was one thing we ran into this year, is we didn't know that, so the clip ended up being a bit shorter on it.
Really? So with these cars, and just forgive me because I don't know a whole lot about them, and they're kind of cool. I've tested and I've drove them a little bit. Never really got to do a whole lot in it, but I like them. I like them a lot. I think they're really fun to drive. Do you have to have it clipped by a certain place, or can just anybody clip it?
You can clip. Anybody can clip it.
Okay.
We did it ourselves at over there at Full Throttle on their karting jig. We put it on that, and we get all the jigs set up on it, and that's when we realized that this clip was shorter because the jig was for the RPM clips, so it was like that much short. So we had to move it around, and finally got it to work.
I could see where these are a small car, so I could see where an inch could be a lot.
Yeah, because we do get teched on wheelbase, which luckily we can just adjust this out.
Okay.
And move everything forward. I don't think we really had to do that much adjustment to get it there. It just we were surprised that it was a bit shorter because before we thought it was longer than the old clip that was originally in it.
Okay. Now you guys have like a dry shaft and everything?
Yes. So instead of sitting sideways like a bike and running a chain back, we sit straight with the car. And it just has a machined adapter. The MTs and FZs I think are aluminum. The FJ motors are steel.
Okay.
And so that adapter goes where the splines where a sprocket would.
Okay. So tell me about these motors. What do you know about the motors? I know they're like a motorcycle engine?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the FZs and MTs are from like 2014, I think 2019 bike motors. And FJ is from the 90s and I think was discontinued in 06.
Okay.
And the FJ...
Now is one just a little bit bigger of a motor than the other?
The FJ is a 4-cylinder. It's 1200 or 1250 cc.
Okay.
The FZ is, I think, 639 or 637, something like that. And the MT, I think, is 650 something.
Okay.
I think it's 657.
Okay. Yeah, so these things are putting out some power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our FJ motor, we actually had to take horsepower out of it.
Really?
Because they make so much horsepower and torque on dirt, you can't get it to hook up, especially like at Moeller where it's just almost always dry slick.
Yeah.
You can't get them to get traction.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Now, I know you guys changed tires recently. Was that like a year or so ago or 2 years ago? You guys went from like the rain tires to like the Hoosier tires.
It was towards the beginning of our second year in it.
Okay.
So, because we're running it, and then Hoosier discontinued those tires, and they quit doing the rain tire bonus, so that's why we switched over to dirt tires.
So basically everybody's running the dirt tires now. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I mean, like I said, I know a little bit. This not a lot, you know. I'm really intrigued. I like these cars. They're exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. I think they're really fun to drive. I'd love to play with them more if I had the opportunity. From what I do know is, man, the maintenance seems like it's nowhere near what the maintenance would be like on the bigger cars.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got to do the bearings and stuff this week. Mm-hmm. You basically do that every week or every other week you can do it. If you're racing 2 nights a week, you gotta do it every week. But if it's just 1 night a week, you can get away with every other week. Oil changes, I think, every 3 races, and oil filters for these, or at least for the MT, it's every 3 races. The FJ we did 2, I think.
2, okay. Like, I'm friends with, and I know Steve Duderstadt, and that guy is his maintenance program is it's a little out there.
Yeah.
He's told me, love Steve. Steve says he has loaded his car in a trailer, won a race, loaded his car up for whatever reasons, work or whatever, couldn't make it back to track. 3 weeks later, the car never came out of the trailer, unloaded it, and go out and win again. I'm like, wait a minute. That seems like my kind of maintenance program.
Yeah, I think he actually showed up to the track one time because he was running late, and he showed up to the track with the motor running on the car because he had built it in the garage a couple hours before he got there. So he broke it in on the trailer, just fired it up, let it run all the way to the track. It needed some
break-in period. That doesn't surprise me. That sounds like something Steve would do.
Yeah,
it works, I guess.
Yeah, those FJ motors, he made them work.
Really? Huh. And so motors, these are sealed, non-sealed?
So these are sealed, with the exception of like throttle body, ECU. There's no tags that really keep you from opening them. Yeah. But everything like in the lower end is basically sealed off. Yeah. So you have a tag on the front to keep you from taking the timing cover off, and I think there's one on the bottom end to keep you from splitting it apart. Okay. But But I know with the FJ motors, because the 1200s are unsealed, 1250s are sealed.
Okay.
The 1250s usually make a little bit more torque down low, and the 1200s usually make the torque up top. But I think it's about 400 RPM difference.
Okay.
And
now, do you guys have a weight rule for these?
So, for us, since we're running the MT with dirt tires, it's 1300. And I think with the FJ with dirt tires is 1350.
Okay, so it's still got some substantial weight. 1,300 pounds for a car, a small car. That's kind of a lot of weight.
Yeah.
I figured it would be a little bit less than that, with the size and everything.
Yeah, I mean, they do have a pretty heavy-duty roll cage. 'Cause it
Yeah.
wraps all around you up in here.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
they're a pretty safe car.
Yeah. They're pretty stout, pretty overbuilt.
They don't look like they're as much as they are, but they're actually a pretty safe car.
Yeah, there's a couple videos where, you've seen, like, the front, like, bars there, Kate, but those were usually 2-bar cars, and they're not very stout. In fact,
Right.
I next banned them about a year and a half ago.
Okay. I seen a video a few weeks ago. It was a road course somewhere they were racing, and man, this car they touched, and like you're kind of
over there in the Europe's road
is that
course
where that
series,
was? Yeah, and that thing just went like tumbling like crazy.
Yeah, these cars, I mean, they're safe, but like when they get flipping, it's just they're so small, and all the weight's like right down here.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's really nothing up here other than me and a couple bars.
Right.
But I mean, most of the weight's just down here because you can't mount it.
Low center of gravity. Yeah.
All the lead's mounted on the bottom of the car because you can only mount it on that 1x3 down there.
Yeah. So you guys do have to add weight.
Yes.
I mean, you're a little guy, so
yeah, it's a lot.
Okay. I guess is there some guys that maybe don't have to add weight, or is pretty much all of them gotta have weight in some way, shape, or form?
I mean, there some guys. I mean, it's probably close, but it's probably still a stick or two of lead.
Yeah.
But for me, I mean,
because it's a little car. It's not. There's not a lot to it.
Yeah. For me, when we first started, there was so much lead all over this car. I mean, we just had lead stacked on top of lead. And we had lead behind the fuel cell. We had lead, we had it in front of the frame rail, behind the frame rail, just trying to get weight on the car.
Everywhere you could put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine. So how old were you when you started driving a legend car?
13.
13. So you were probably maybe 80 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
If that. Okay.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, no kidding. I remember, for some reason, I don't know why, my first driver's license, when I was 16, I weighed 122 pounds. Little guy. Put on a few pounds since then. You'll have that. So tell me about, how old are you now?
So I'm 16 now.
16 now, okay. And how much you weigh now?
130, I think.
Yeah, okay. So we were pretty close. Yeah. Where do you go to school?
I go to school at OHVA. It's an online school, but I'll be going to a trade school next year to learn CNC.
Yeah.
And I also plan on learning welding because I kind of have that down a little bit, but just need to get more variety because I can just do flat plates together, just fusion welds right now.
What kind of welding are you doing? You doing a stick welder or
TIG?
TIG. Okay, that's good. I've always wanted to learn TIG. I'm pretty good with a stick. I'm pretty good with MIG, but I've never got to do.
Yeah,
I've never had the opportunity, and I really like to.
Yeah, the way it was explained to me, TIG's like driving a race car. You just feather the pedal, and you kind of just watch it.
Yeah.
And it only took me like 15 minutes to learn because the guy was just like, "Man, I was just kidding when I said I'd have you welding by the end of the day."
He didn't realize 15 minutes later you were doing it.
Yeah, because he just showed me how to tack and, how much heat's too much, so it doesn't warp.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, it's, I think I'm going to go more into welding than the CNC side.
Okay.
I like the welding more.
Yeah, welding's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
I know a lot of guys that try it and just they get frustrated, can't do it, and I'm like, man, I get it. It's when you've done it in a long time, it's like, it's pretty easy, but if you're just trying to pick it up, it can be frustrating. Yeah, I've I've had a lot of welding jobs. I used to be a union iron worker, so there was a lot of times I was up in the air welding stuff or down on the ground welding stuff that then went on the building and stuff. I had some pretty cool jobs. We'll talk about that off camera. It's I love the weld. I think it's pretty cool. It's a pretty good trade. You know, I've done pretty well with it. What's your plans to do with it?
Probably work here at Deltec welding for fabrication stuff, and it's pretty useful for this stuff too. Just because, I mean, we've had these fender brackets break a couple times, and my dad usually welds them up on the MIG machine. But yeah, I hope I can get welding. We just need a new gas bottle and a foot pedal for it. And
I'm sure we can come up with that somewhere around here. Yeah, there's I know there's a few places where I get like my welding supplies over in the Florence area. Wright Brothers is one on like Mall Road. I get a lot of my gas bottles and stuff filled from them. But yeah, there's plenty of places to pick up welding supplies.
Yeah.
We'll get you going, huh?
Yeah.
So you've been out of the car. Let's talk about that. You've been sidelined for a couple of weeks. What's going on there?
Starting around that legend race at Lawrenceburg, it was that Friday. Thought it was just gas pain at first because it was in my right lower abdomen and started hurting. And when I got to Lawrenceburg, whenever I was running around the pits in those fin-soled shoes, whenever my heel would touch the ground, like if I hit a big rock, the gravel in the pits, it would start hurting in there. And then the next day at my cousin's graduation, it really started acting up, and I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah.
So
this isn't just too much Taco Bell. There's something not right.
Yeah. That Monday I was sitting there doing my schoolwork on the couch, and my mom was like, "You don't look right. Are you okay?" I'm like, "Not really."
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm like, she asked me what was wrong, and I said, well, it's hurting in my right lower abdomen. She's like, well, we have a family history of having appendicitis, so you might want to, we were probably going to take you down to the hospital. And so my dad took the car to work that day, so I had to wait for him to get back. And, of course, every traffic light and, car was on the road while he was trying to get back.
Yeah. So they ended up going to the hospital and had appendicitis.
Yeah, and so got it removed, and so this week will be my last week out of the car.
Okay, so you'll get cleared this week. So next week, when people are watching this, the week of the dream, you're going to be, where are you going to be?
Over there at Columbus, Indiana.
Okay.
It's a flat track. It's a bit bigger than Moeller. It doesn't look like it in person, but I like to go on Google Earth and measure the outside wall of the tracks, or just at least the line. And it's, I think, I can't remember how much bigger it is. I think it's just short of a third mile.
Okay.
It's actually a bit more short than that, but I know it's bigger than Moeller, because Moeller's barely a quarter mile around the wall. It's 0.26.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So I guess you can use Google Earth like that to get your measurements. And I would assume that would
because
help
we use it for
pick
gear.
your gear and stuff. Yeah. Huh. I would not have thought of that. Like, that's actually a pretty good tool.
Yeah.
That, I wonder how many other people think of that. Everybody except for me, I guess.
But yeah, you can measure it in like feet, and even inches.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, you just take a dot, click, 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 and usually all I do is I start it with like a triangle. I usually start on the front stretch or back stretch, put one there, put one there, put one there, put one there, and then drag it all out into the wall.
Wow. Huh. Interesting. Man, just the technology, things that we have accessible these days is unreal, ain't it?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. So this Columbus track, that's Columbus, Indiana.
Yeah.
Okay. I assume this has got something to do with Tony.
Yeah, so I think Tony Stewart, at least, I'm not sure if he owns it or if he just sponsors a lot to it.
Right. He's got some affiliation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a really nice track. I mean, it's usually pretty smooth, but it's also slick. But a lot of those Indiana tracks, especially like when you're running with TQs, when they take rubber, it gets grippier. Then it gets like almost like a hammer down track, except it's one groove.
One lane. Yeah. I've noticed, and we've mentioned it in a couple other episodes, that it seems like, I don't know, maybe it's just maybe on the smaller tracks for Legends and TQs, but there's a lot of other tracks. It seems like a lot of racetracks in Indiana are on fairgrounds.
Yeah.
I mean, I do realize, and I know there's some that are not on fairgrounds, also privately owned places, but it seems like there's a lot of fairgrounds in the state of Indiana that has little racetracks.
Yeah. A lot of
I guess they're not all little.
Yeah.
I mean, Lawrenceburg's not a little track.
Yeah. But all those fairground tracks. I mean, Columbus is probably about the only one will race other than Rushville. Rushville, it's pretty small, but the rest of them, they're so small, it's just you tear up cars. I mean,
they're little.
Because, like, we won't go to Shelbyville, and we won't go to 35, because 35 is just so tight, they just tear up a lot of Legends there, too.
Now, 35, that's the 35 Raceway in Ohio?
Yeah.
Okay. I can't remember if it was Rushville or if it was Shelbyville. I was supposed to drive a TQ at one of those tracks, and we were the day of going to the track. The guy was just like, man, I think I'm just going to cancel. I think I'm just going to sell everything. And I'm just like, what? But, the TQs, that's another class that I think is pretty interesting. I like those things, too. I seen, was it the D2 midgets they had at Moeller?
Yeah, I like it when they run there. Because I like Moeller when the top comes in, because it really sucks when it's bottom one groove, because it's a flat track on the bottom, because it's progressively banked in a ton too. Like when you're sitting there while they're waiting to check everyone's transponders, make sure they're registering. You're sitting there, if you sit in the middle of the track, you can see it's like it's dished like this.
Yeah.
Because Lawrenceburg used to be that way too before they flattened out the banking some, but I think they just built it up like this.
Yeah.
And filled that in.
So what do you think of Lawrenceburg? The Legend cars on Lawrenceburg. Is it too big, or is it all right?
It's not too big as far as speed, but as far as gear, it's pretty doggy, especially with the MTs.
Yeah.
That track's a good motor to have an FJ motor, because these MTs I think only have like 100 and something foot. I think it's like 107 foot-pounds of torque.
Right.
It could be more, but I know our FJ motor made like 121.
Yeah.
So
I think you guys, and I think you were there, the Legend Cars was there the night we had the Northern All-Star Series.
Yes.
At Lawrenceburg.
Yeah, that was a pretty good show in the late models that night. But, yeah, we didn't have the best of luck that night, but I think it'll be a fun track. It's like racing on a super speedway with these things.
It is. That's huge. And
yeah,
same thing
because,
with
I mean,
Florence.
you still have to lift out a ton, but on entry, but it's just you have so much gear. I mean, you could almost drink a slushy going down the back straightway.
Right. Yeah, Florence is like that too for the Legend car. It just seems like it's so big.
It seems big, but I mean, just how tight the corners are and how flat the track is.
Yeah.
You don't carry much corner speed, so it's just you have to drag race down the straightway, and then it's mainly getting through the corner there is where you get all the lap time.
Yeah. Interesting. That's So all these tracks, do you have a favorite?
Moeller, just because it was my home track.
Okay.
Because living 20 minutes away from there, we went there.
That makes it kind of nice too.
Yeah, we would go there every Friday night when I was a kid, since I was like 3.
Right.
So, grew up watching Chevettes there.
It's hard to believe that place has been open that long.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it, but it kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it was open the year I was born.
Really?
Yeah. So I think they ran like 2 races maybe in 06, but it was officially open, I think, early 07, because I think they had like 2 races, make sure the track was good.
Right.
Because, I mean, if you go to Google Earth, you can go back in time, you can see in 06 the track was being put up. The camera or satellite footage isn't the best compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
But But yeah, you can see it before it had any walls, before it had the hill where the grandstands
Yeah,
sit.
there's no grandstands,
Yeah.
no concessions.
It was
none
just
of
a
that stuff's
field
built
before
yet.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I remember me and a buddy of mine, Danny Hurt. Danny sometimes drives. A lot of times he's always in a '96 car that I think his son's racing now, the Sport Mod at Moeller.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
Yeah. Hurting for checkers guy.
Yeah.
So me and Danny grew up together, and we actually, I remember we went to Brush Creek when it was under construction, when they were building it, and they had the track like cut out, but they didn't have the walls built. That they had these buckets all lined up around, so we could like, oh, okay, we could see the layout and stuff. It's like, that's pretty cool, But that's going back when Brush Creek was being built,
Yeah, that track, its history kind of is neat with the big track.
Yeah.
Because another thing, if you go to Google Earth, you can go back and see when it was the big track.
Yeah.
And it's really weird because looking at it from the front stretch, it looks like a tri-oval, like from satellite, but you turn it the other way and it just looks like a really odd shaped track.
Yeah.
And even now it still looks pretty odd because at turn one, it's so tight.
Yeah. So I actually got to race on the big tri-oval track, and you want to talk about, GPS wouldn't have helped you in a race car because you were never straight. You were never, it was always, you're sweeping out and you're diving in. You just basically made like a big circle.
Yeah.
And the car I had, I don't know if it was the gear or what, it just really seemed like it went really well. And you never lifted. I mean, it was just, you would talk about on the floor the whole time, and your car's just this the whole time, and just up and down and sweeping in and out. It was a blast, but like when you're coming out of turn 29, because you don't know where the hell you're at on the racetrack, it was fun. Hard on equipment, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, those hammer down tracks, they can be fun. I think they can be as much as a driver's track as a slick track. Like Skyline, they did a good job there getting that track ran in with the amount of rain they had, because I had to take a grader to the track because it was getting so rough. Because, I mean, there was ruts getting like 8 inches deep on the track. Yeah. And, I mean, that's like, half the tire for these little things. And
I think I have a picture of Volusia this year. I think it was the night that they may have had the sprint cars. The shelf.
The cushion where it's
cushion.
like
I am not kidding. It was like this.
Yeah, about a foot tall.
Oh yeah, it was probably. I think it was well over a foot. I mean, you could see when guys would hit that thing, those cars were getting crazy air. It's like, dang, oh.
Yeah, because how I got around Tyler Scott for the win there at Skyline was I was racing in the ruts the whole race because I knew there's moisture in them. There's a lot of them, and Tyler said after the race, and this was kind of my thinking too, he said, ain't nobody going to pass me on the outside. I'm like, well, so he's not going to be defending the outside, so he's running on the smooth part on the bottom. So I'm running up here on top of the ruts trying to catch him the whole race. Yeah. And this one lap I hit a rut and the car straightened out a ton. Yeah. And I intentionally overdrove it and hopefully would catch another rut and get the car pitched sideways and then have it snap straight on exit, because that's basically what I was doing to get it around there. But the cars kept pushing up the track and it finally snapped around, and there's a rut about this tall. You can see it from my dad's video, which is all the way down in 4 of me coming off of 2, and you can see that rut. It's about this tall. You can see the reflection of the track lights off of it. Yeah. And the car pitches way sideways, boom. And it catches. Yeah, it catches on that giant rut, and the car fired down the back straightaway and put like 2 car lengths on Tyler going into 3, and he kind of caught back up to me, and then a lap car was right there, so I went back up on top of the ruts to get around it, which took him some time to get around that lap car.
Right. How hard, though, is that to – it's hard for some people to understand, like, okay, on a smooth track, and I got to drive, and I got to hit my marks to this. You're not on the smooth part doing this. You're planning and executing the ruts in the track to do this.
Yeah, so
that's gonna be not easy.
Yeah, that's why I think rough hammer down track is just as hard as driving a slick
Yeah.
smooth track because, I mean, yes, you need throttle control for that, but those hammer down rough tracks, you have to use the track to your advantage because,
Sure.
I mean, if it gets a smooth groove on the bottom, you have to run up in that if you want to find where to run.
Yeah.
And because I was trying to catch him the whole race, and I hit that, and that lap was like 3/10 faster than any of my other
Really?
laps. Because me and Tyler's average lap was about the same the whole race, but
Yeah.
that lap there skewed the average so much, it skewed it like almost a tenth.
Wow. I was checking the lap times when we were talking about being at Lawrenceburg, and the Legend cars are actually quite a bit quicker than the Hornets at Lawrenceburg.
Yes.
You would think the
Well,
Hornets,
they actually sent us out there when we practiced there. They sent us out with a compact.
Yeah.
Because me and Joe Warning were out there, and we're running a couple laps, and then all of a sudden, I think I see something at the corner of my eye go out behind Joe Warning, because Joe Warning, I see him go down the front stretch, and I think I see something absolutely ginormous pull up behind his car, and I'm going down the back stretch. I'm like, did they just send a compact out with us?
Yeah.
And I going around, I go down the front stretch, and I'm catching this thing quick, and Joe's stuck behind it,
Yeah.
and he gets around it, and then I catch up to this thing and flew by like it was sitting still.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we are faster than the compacts. That Moeller, they're usually a bit faster by about a tenth on slick tracks.
Okay.
But on heavy tracks, we're faster than them by about
yeah.
the same amount, about
Yeah.
a tenth.
Okay. Yeah. So these are pretty quick little cars. They're pretty.
Yeah.
They're a serious deal. I mean, it's not like it just it's almost a race car.
Yeah.
No, it's a race car. It's a full-blown miniature race car.
Yeah.
Other than Legends, let's talk about what else what would you think would be your favorite kind of racing? Are you a NASCAR? You like cup racing, dirt late models, sprint cars? What's your favorite form of racing?
I like the late model stuff, but I also like looking at old F1 stuff like the 80s, 90s, just all the innovation.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks because like NASCAR 80s, 90s had all that same innovation like F1 did, but both of them have gone for budget racing, kind of.
Yeah.
But, I mean, because they keep putting budget caps on stuff, and it's like, well, they're spending, $26 million instead of $28 million,
Right.
so. And most of the innovation's gone because, I mean, the NASCAR stuff, it's all the same chassis now.
Right, right. So, how do you like the trucks when the trucks go to Eldora?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to see one of those races in person, but I think it was pretty neat to see that stuff.
Where was it? Was it Bristol? They ran the Cup Series on dirt.
Yeah.
And I think Jody Shannon commented and said it was the most expensive street stocks ever.
Yeah. Yeah. That track's pretty cool when they put dirt on it.
Yeah. I think it should be a dirt. That should just be a dirt track all the time. Just go ahead and
Yeah,
fill
I think
up the
they
asphalt.
said when Dietz was running, Josh Dietz ran down there. They said they clocked him doing like 120 on entry in a crate car.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I think I don't know what it is recently, but I feel like back, when was that? 01-ish, maybe when
I think it was 01 is when they first did that.
Yeah, they did the first dirt, and they had the Outlaws stuff there. I thought, I could be completely wrong, so please nobody shoot me over this. I think that they were clocking the sprint cars at like 140 in the corners.
Yes, that's
That's
I absolutely believe that because I do some monkeying around on iRacing and you get those speeds in a super late model even.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets sketchy. Like if you go up top, I mean it's crazy. You'll pick up like because you have to run such a tall gear. When you go up 900 RPM, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So when you get up on the cushion, it gets pretty squirrely.
Right. So you do iRacing?
Yes.
You like it?
Yes, I like it a lot.
Do they have legend cars in iRacing? I would
Yes,
assume
they
have
have.
to.
They have the dirt and asphalt versions, but the dirt version isn't very good because I don't think INX renewed their license with it. So they still have those hard as rock BF Goodrich tires on them because they ran the BF Goodrich tires on dirt and asphalt.
Right. Yeah.
and we have a set of Federals, and those things, I mean, they're hard as bricks, and those tires are even harder. Those the Federals are softer than that by quite a few Duro points.
Right.
And the rain tires are still hard, but I think the rain tires usually had more drive off than these dirt tires. It's just the dirt tires got you through the corner better. So there's a couple weird things with the tires of these cars over the years.
So does the iRacing help you with this?
Yes, because I mean that's what I've been doing since I've been out of the car all week, just running on iRacing.
Just keeping up those eye, hand, foot reflexes.
Yeah, usually what I like to run is the super late models, and if those aren't racing anything, I'll usually run the NASCAR modified stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I usually run into hosted sessions just because, or at least for a while I did, because I got stuck in the rookie street stock stuff, and just every time, because I'd get too racy, and some newbie comes in and just absolutely flat foots it into the corner and dumps me, and I'd get really mad. So I'd charge back up through the field, and then they do the same thing again. I get mad and just pull off.
It reminds you of the old go-karting days, huh?
Yeah. But yeah, the rookie street stocks are kind of a pain in the butt. It's almost harder than any of the other classes of racing, just because of the amount of wrecks. Because my first race on iRacing, I remember I barely bumped the guy. I didn't even get an incident point, and the guy turned around backwards after the race, and because I'm like finally got through a whole race, and the guy turns around. I'm like, so sweet, no incident point, so it's gonna be a good race. And this guy turns around, and plows into me. I'm like, crap. There went that.
There goes that. So much for that.
Yes.
So do you have a big rig set up, or
no? I just have a Logitech G920 and a little swivel chair like this that has a speaker in it.
Yeah.
But it's set up on an actual sim like rig, like it's metal bracketry, but it's not a motion sim.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I just use an old TV on a piece of plywood that's mounted to the sim sim bracketry.
I always find it interesting talking to guys and the guys tell me how many guys actually use or like it or don't, and then it's okay. Well, what kind of setup do you have? Some guys have a pretty sweet gig and rig and all that and stuff, but some guys are just, hey, it's just plain basic stuff to get them going.
Yeah, I do like it. Like the NASCAR modifieds, like at Bristol, it's great racing.
Yeah.
And then also my favorite car to race on, my other favorite car to race on dirt is the micros, because they drive a lot like these.
Okay.
Because the dirt legends aren't very accurate. The asphalt legends feel pretty nice, but the dirt legends, they're just so sloppy on the track. Like you get it on the gas, and it's just the car is fishtails.
Okay. So back to this thing. I know a lot of teams, a lot of cars, guys name their cars. Does this car have a name?
No.
No name. All right. So the horse with no name.
Yeah.
Got it. Outside of racing, what do you like to do?
Usually sim racing, and most of the time, if I'm not sim racing, I'm looking up some obscene motor for like, because I want to build a motor for my Ford Ranger. It's a big block 4-cylinder.
Really?
Yeah, we used to have a boat that had it, and it's I think 223.
Okay.
Is its displacement. It uses D-stroked Ford 460 parts.
Yeah.
And so the only parts it doesn't share with a Ford 460 is the crankshaft and camshaft.
Okay.
And of course the block, but cylinder heads, all that stuff bolts on it. But I mean, you can even use the crankshaft as long as the bore spacing is the same.
So what kind of power is this thing putting out?
The Mercruiser.
Yeah.
Factory. Not much. It made 170 horsepower from the factory, but I think looking on old forums, because it used to be a kind of popular dragster motor. I mean, it didn't really gain traction, but like 2014, you saw a lot of guys start turbocharging them,
right,
and putting them in like S10s and stuff. and that's usually about where it would get, and they kind of have fallen off just because, you know, the marketability. They don't have the cam chassis. You have to get a custom grind can.
Yeah.
And you can use a cross-plane crank. You lose about 10 to 15 horsepower and a 4-cylinder.
We can't have that.
But yeah, I think if I'm gonna build it, I'd have to build it with a cross-plane just because of parts availability.
Right.
Because I mean, it's a little less reliable, but I mean, you got the extra parts for it.
So, other than legend cars, what would be your next car to race? What are you? What's the goal here? Someday a late model?
Yeah, probably create late model.
Okay.
Or think about going sport mod racing and building that same motor I was talking about, that Mercruiser 470, and running that. But just the amount of sheet metal sport mods tear up, we just can't afford that. Cause I'd much rather spend the same money on shocks and tires as we would be fixing sheet metal, because you're not fixing it.
Right. I gotcha. Okay. So that's the plan.
Yes.
Someday could be a sport mod, but hopefully a crate late model.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Okay. Before we wrap things up, this has been good. Man, you've had a lot, and I'm pretty impressed. I wasn't expecting this. It's good. It's really good. So before we wrap things up, you got some people you got to thank.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that. Who you got to thank?
First of all, JC. He's another machine shop guy. He helps us out a ton with sponsorship. 360 Tour Design. He helps us out a ton. He's my neighbor down the street, but he also does photos for the car. He provides a good amount of money.
Yeah.
He does house photography, and then of course Deltec, which is the building we're in right now. They help us make a lot of parts, like our quick jack, and help us make tools to sell.
Right.
And fix stuff that breaks on us, or turn down the brake rotors. Because something that's goofy about these cars is if you're not running the factory Celica calipers, you have to turn the rotors down.
Really?
Yeah, they won't fit because they're like this thick.
Okay.
So you have to turn them down to like that thick to get it to fit. But
interesting.
And of course Cliffbird Chassis, and because he's helped us out a ton, not just with chassis setup, but just like in general with, you know, driver help.
Yeah.
You know, getting us to the track and really getting us into it. Because I mean, without Cliff, we wouldn't be here with this car.
Yeah. Cliff and Nicholas, they're good guys, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. They live, what was it, about 10, 15 minutes from me.
Yeah.
So I've been to their shop a couple times.
Yeah, it's a big shop.
Yeah.
It's always filled with a bunch of cars.
It's always got cars in it. That's for sure. Yeah,
because every time I go over there, there's something different there.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Anything else you need to mention before we wrap up?
No, I think that's about it.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Well, the last piece of business that I got for you while we're signing off, you sign my table for me?
Yep.
Perfect. So that's it, man. We're checking Lucas out here. He's got his cars ready. We're going to get him back on the track. He's been sidelined. I know he's ready to go. So don't forget, this week is a dream. They're going to be out in Columbus, Indiana. You can check them out there as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that great stuff. Slingin Dirt Media. And like always, man, see you at the track next week. Thanks. Perfect. Thank you, sir.